Most people are not ready for what's about to happen. We have so many things going on in our economy, from tariffs to war possibly to an economy that may have a housing crash. So many things that I want to share with you that are going to be happening. But more importantly, for every problem, there is a solution. This is not some sad video. Although I'm going to be very serious, this is not a sad video. I know for every problem, there's a solution, and every problem creates an opportunity. So let's talk about what those problems are and what our solutions and our new opportunities will be, so that possibly we come out all the way on top. Let's go.
Noelle. Yeah, she can fix that. You gotta get it done, no, you need to do it better. Well, she can fix that. Yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that. Let's fix that.
So let's get right into it. We already know tariffs. Let's talk about that first, because there's just so much news with tariffs. And no matter if you're on the left, the right, or anywhere in between, you know that tariffs are going to increase prices. We are not dumb. We know that if someone is paying tariffs, they are going to pass those costs on to us, the consumer. So tariffs are a big thing. We just had a meeting with Jerome Powell, or a meeting just finished up, I should say, with Jerome Powell, where they meet annually, the federal opportunities. Looking through all of the notes on this, there were some real things that just kept being repeated by Jerome Powell, where I know that he is concerned about tariffs. He realizes that that is going to increase prices to the consumer, and that could increase also inflation, and some other crazy things could happen where a lot of us are affected by this. So we know that tariffs are what the importer pays, or if you take exports, if exports come from another country, then they have to pay like a tax. However, it is paid by the person receiving those goods. And then we all know it doesn't matter basically who pays them. The consumer, the end buyer, is going to be the one that is going to be paying a higher price because of tariffs. And now we have tariffs, Chinese goods, Mexican goods, Canadian goods. And then we have this trade war where, okay, Trump says he's going to do tariffs. And then, Canada says, well, we're going to do them. Mexico says we're going to do it. And China says, yeah. And so we actually already have some tariffs on steel and aluminum that are already in effect. So everybody already knows what's that going to affect. Car prices. So we have already started to see where manufacturers are going to be raising car prices. Car prices are going to be through the roof. We already have a slowing car market and a decrease in inventory, which makes used cars even more expensive, because then there are less of them, and most people want used cars, and then that demand goes up. And if demand goes up, then what does that mean? Prices go up. So we are going to be kind of be in this weird places with car prices. So if you have a good car, get used to that car. You're probably going to be keeping that car. That's probably one of the solutions to it. If you have multiple cars and you say, like, maybe I'll be able to sell them, you'll actually probably be able to be an asset for you, whereas cars usually are not an asset because they don't go up in value. But if we end up in a situation where used cars are in a small, there's a small supply of them and the demand is high, well, then guess what? Prices will also be high. And if you have lots of cars, you may be able to start selling some of your cars that you actually own for a profit. Additionally, obviously, I say to monetize things. So if you have multiple cars, I feel like you should be renting them out on Turo, or you should be hiring drivers and creating an Uber business where people are driving your cars, almost like your own little taxi service. There's so many things that you can do to monetize cars. And I'm going to say that you're probably going to have to do that if this car price thing really gets into effect. And if you have a need for a new car right now, obviously you should go and get a car now while interest rates are still low enough and while there are still a supply of them. But as prices increase and they start to manufacture less of them, of course, that's going to have a triple effect where car manufacturers will then lay off employees and different things like that. So there's really some concerning things. And then Jerome Powell just kept saying tariffs over and over again and talking about the other areas that it would affect.
Tariff increases will be significantly larger than expected. And the same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth. The size and duration of these effects remains uncertain.
So I already know that tariffs are going to be a problem and that there's going to be a solution. We got to find what the opportunity is in that. And like I said, it's going to be your car may have value. Keep your car well maintained. Start to think of ways that you're going to monetize your car or pay off your car so that you own it free and clear. Fed rate funds. So this is going to be another major thing that obviously Jerome Powell, who is the head of the Federal Reserve, that he kept talking about was the Federal Rate Reserve. So one of the things that we know is that the Federal Reserve, that is basically in the rates, that's what banks charge each other. But of course, that again is passed on to consumers, and that's how we get charged mortgage rates, credit card rates, personal loans, car loans, different things like that. The interest rates that we pay, of course, is going to be higher if the banks are paying a higher interest rate. So if they're borrowing money from the Fed and the Fed is charging more, then of course they are going to be charging those to you. But a great way to do this and to start thinking about knowing that this is going to happen and this is coming, of course, is starting a business and actually monetizing your business and getting business funding now. Business funding is a great way to get money in your business's name, and we already know that businesses is where most of the money is going to be going, not to consumers, not to personal loans. We know that those rates are going to go through the roof. So if you are looking for business credit and business funding, please use the link below to 𝐁𝐿 Consulting. Get your free consultation. They can help you build your business together. They can help you get business trade lines on your business credit, and they can even help you get business funding. In fact, they helped one of my students get over $75,000 in just a matter of weeks. They are amazing. If you let them know that Noelle Randall sent you, they will give you a free consultation. This is something that I think that you should do to be proactive, and that you should start borrowing money in your business's name. I think those rates are still going to remain probably some of the better rates versus personal loans, but you actually need to have a business if you really want to take advantage and get lots and lots of business credit and business funding. So the Federal Reserve actually right now is charging about 4.25 to 4.5. Jerome Powell says that that's going to remain the same. He already kind of put out there that there may be some rate decreases later on in the year, later on in 2025, early 2026, who knows? But at the same time, if the tariffs actually start to come and some things with pricing and inflation starts to happen, we could see that he changes his position on that. But let's talk about that for just a second. Inflation right now is actually okay. The goal is for inflation to be at 2%. Okay. That is the goal. Inflation to be 2%. Right now, Jerome Powell says it's about 2.8%. So it is not quite their goal, and they're going to continually work to get that to 2%. So again, things increasing just about 2% every year. And again, we get cost of living adjustments from our pay and different things like that. So we should expect that there should be some increases in what things cost. We know that bread doesn't still cost 5 cents the way that it did 50 years ago. We know that over time things increase in price. That is inflation. We're okay with that, but the goal is that it should be about 2%. Right now, it is about 2.8%. So Jerome Powell says he's going to continually monitor this. He's going to continually watch this, but they are not going to be doing anything with the Federal Reserve rates right now. Right now, like I said, they're 4.25 to 4.5. So when you go to get like, mortgage loans, for example, they're at like 6.5. They're under 7, but around 6.5 right now. So we can kind of think that that's where it's going to kind of remain for right now. But most people would not be ready if that changed drastically. So I'm going to talk about something really big. Like I said, getting your business going. Many of us already have a business that we are not using. We're not creating that multiple stream of income or that second stream of income. But I strongly suggest you build that business credit, start getting business funding, and use that money as reserves. You can get business credit cards. You can get business loans. You can get business lines of credit. And the great thing about a business line of credit is you're only making payments on what you've used. So if you get a business line of credit for $100,000, for example, and you just use $10,000 or $20,000 of it, you're only going to have to make payments on that amount, but you still have access to the rest of it. So I absolutely love business lines of credit. And many times, if you have good personal credit, you can get a business line of credit and you don't have to then save money. So it actually doubles. So if you have $100,000 of your own money saved, great. Now you also have a business line of credit that's more savings, and you're basically able to double your savings with just one move. So this is something that I think smart people, wealthy people, that's what we're doing. We're starting to borrow money while we know rates are still low. Jerome Powell says, okay, we're going to keep these rates right here. We may lower them. We may not. He's really, kind of dodgy about what is going to actually happen. So I say be proactive, get that business credit going, borrow the money, use it as reserves. Don't just spend it, because there's going to be an opportunity if the next thing happens, if there's a housing crash or something like that, you'll be able to start picking up properties, buying distressed assets, stock prices will go down, then you'll be able to buy lots of stocks. So a lot of things you'll be able to do if you have cash. So you want to start preparing for that right now. Most people are not ready, but like I said, you're watching this. Noelle Randall is trying to make you the most successful person you possibly could be. And you tell other people we really could protect ourselves and our community so that we are not even involved with anything that happens, and we are not on the bad side of a recession should that happen, or on the bad side should a housing crash happen. We're preparing, we're ready for it, we're doing those right things, we're making sure our personal credit is good, we're getting business credit and getting business funding, and we're watching, we're not watching the news crazy, but we're just watching to see, the important stuff, to see what happens. All right, let me keep going. GDP, gross domestic product, as is about 2%. So the good thing about it is last year, Jerome Powell did say that the GDP did increase about 2%. And obviously that is some growth. So when a recession is when GDP decreases 2 quarters in a row. We have not seen that. There's all this talk about if there's a recession coming. Obviously, if we go too crazy with the tariffs, and there's lots of tariffs and trade wars, and things go up in price, and there's mass layoffs, then obviously then we would be in a recession, and that would start to affect the economy. As I said, that would then lead to more foreclosures, people losing their homes. That will create an opportunity for you to actually have a business and another source of income, and you have funds set aside. Then you would be able to take advantage and buy assets for pennies on the dollars and actually really increase your wealth. Most wealth and, generational wealth and things like that is created during these hard times, during recession. So I'm not saying we should be praying for a recession or hoping for one, but many wealthy people that are stacking our cash and have cash available, we're watching for distressed assets, and we know that this is going to be a good thing. So although we're watching all of this, a housing crash may not necessarily be the worst thing to happen if you have money and you're ready for it. Now, if you're on the wrong side of it and you lost your job and you have no savings and you don't have another stream of income, then yeah, things would get pretty bad for you. But if you do what Noelle Randall is telling you to do, and you're actually creating another source of income, and you're having a business and you have these funds set aside, then you actually would increase your net worth during these hard times, and you would be on the other side of it. And I think as a group, as a community, we really could do that, especially if we stay out of the noise and we don't fall into some of these distractions. Jerome Powell is saying some amazing things. He's telling us tariffs will affect things. Something is going to be affected. Prices are going to be affected. There is no possible way that tariffs and trade wars starts to happen and you're not affected. You know that you're going to be affected. You know that prices are going to increase. So what does that mean? That means you now know something and you can take action and be proactive. You do not have to be a victim of this. Additionally, protesting and going into the street may not be the answer for you. You may have to just start closing in, turning off that noise, and start working on you. That's what I'm suggesting. So here is the question. Are you ready for what's coming? Are you ready for higher prices? Are you ready to pay more for cars? Are you ready to see that values of homes might go down if foreclosures and stuff happening? Are you caught up on your mortgage? Are you working on paying down your debt? Do you have 3 to 6 months worth of savings? Have you started to make sure your personal credit is intact and start building business credit and getting business funding? Are you ready for what's coming? If you're not, get ready, start doing it. Again, call my friends at 𝐁𝐮𝐬𝐢𝐥𝐝 Consulting and help. They will help you build business credit. This is not something that takes a long time. This is not something that will cost you a lot of money, and the payoff could be 10, 100-fold. You may invest $1,000 to do this and easily get $100,000 that you have as a line of credit that you don't necessarily have to just start spending. This will be reserves for you. Call them. The call is free. They are my friends. They have helped hundreds of people so far, and their goal is to help thousands. So you want to call them and make sure that you are on the right side of what is coming. Most people have no idea. Most people are too busy watching the news or thinking that they should take to the street and start protesting. I'm not saying that there may not be protests and that may not be a way to fight against some of this. But again, I am an entrepreneur. I realize that this is a capitalistic society that we live in, and I just feel like you could learn the rules and win the game instead of trying to change the rules and fight against everything. There are ways to learn and win, and you have friends at 𝐁𝐮𝐬𝐢𝐥𝐝 Consulting. You have friends at Noelle Randall Coaching. You have friends to help you navigate this so that you do come out on top. I just want to make sure that you have all of the knowledge, all of the resources, and all of the tools that you need to be successful. This is Noelle Randall. To your success.